Welcome back to Mental Health Matters. And as promised, we got the great David coming back with us this week, who is going to talk about his really fascinating book looking at mastering your emotions and transforming your life, and looking at how emotions and our actions can become maladaptive and how we can create transformation and a new way of seeing things. And if you didn't hear last week's show, I really recommend going online to KRUU, or if it's not up there yet, you could go to Ardent Center's website, www.ardentcenter.com, and you could hear the past shows, including links to podcast and YouTubes, or you could even go to the YouTube thing. It'll probably be a couple weeks till it's up on YouTube, but we'll get it there soon. And I think everybody would just absolutely love last week's show, looking at this notion of transformation and utilizing emotions in a different way. So you're listening to KRUU 100.1 on your FM dial. Dr. Scott Terry, Mental Health Matters with Dr. Scott Terry. I happen to be Dr. Scott Terry for some reason, and I'm really glad you are with us today to explore your possibilities of creating a new life for yourself now. So, David, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. You're also adjunct professor, and you've got a lot of degrees. Tell us about yourself for a minute, and then introduce what we're going to talk about today, which is going to be diving more into concrete aspects of what somebody could actually do to change their emotions.
Beautiful. Yeah. So, as I said last week, I'm an adjunct professor of physiology and health at Mashi University of Management, but I'm also a health and lifestyle consultant, trained in Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese traditional medicine, and modern dietary theories. I've also studied emotions and how to deal with emotions with the Chloe Madanes Institute in California. So, bringing that and
very famous place. Chloe Madanes is also in my dimension of a very famous clinician, American family therapist, and one of the founders in our field. So very impressive.
Yeah, and I also bring to the table.
You also study with Tony Robbins.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But I also bring my over 40 years of experience of teaching transcendental meditation, and also being in charge of meditation groups. And I've been coaching and lecturing on health, stress management, and all different forms of dietary theories for the past 25 years.
So you've been looking at the holistic, so to speak, not to say it in a cosmic sense, but in a very real sense, the holistic way of looking at the mind, body, spirit,
everything.
Right?
Yes.
So meditation as a useful tool. So if you don't meditate, here's how to meditate.
Absolutely.
As a tool to create transformation. How to look at your body as a means of transformation. How to look at your emotions as a means of transformation.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what's so nice about that is that emotions run our life. Most people are not aware that we are by nature emotional beings. Everything that we are doing in life is based on some emotion that we have, or some emotion we would like to have. Maybe we want to feel happier, and so we indulge in a certain activity in order to create that feeling of happiness. Maybe we want more love in our life, so we indulge in a certain activity in order to create that. Whatever we're doing in life is based on some emotion, whether the emotion is happening or whether we would love that emotion to happen to us. So understanding how to manage or master your emotion is one of the key things that you need to learn in life.
Right, but it's also important not to get trapped by that emotion. Oh, I want happiness. And if I only have, and then we come back into, like we were talking about before, this notion of meaning that we put onto our emotions. If I only have money, then I'll be happy. No, it doesn't work like that.
Unfortunately, that's a concept that we have been taught.
Right.
We have been educated to believe that kind of concept.
Right. And also, obviously, not having money in a society that values money so much certainly puts an impingement upon you.
Beautiful.
But that doesn't mean you also have to get trapped. It doesn't mean circumstances like, you could have health issues. Doesn't mean it has to affect who you are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Here, what you just touched on is what I consider the core of one's life. In my previous book, Awaken to Your Divinity, I mentioned that we are all divine beings and we have created a human physiology in order to walk on this planet Earth. So our physiology is almost like our car that we use. Most of people are not aware that there is an inner intelligence within the human psyche that is responsible for all that we're doing in life. This inner intelligence expresses itself through the brain physiology and the brain stem and the billions of neurons that extend from that, connecting all the organ systems in your body.
Yes.
When there's a block in the flow of that intelligence throughout the system, then disease or disease happen in the physiology.
But it's also the other way around, too, that just because I'm meditating and I'm becoming more evolved doesn't mean that I don't need my vehicle to get somewhere.
Beautiful.
If I want my car to go somewhere, but I don't put gas in there.
Absolutely.
Or maple syrup's brown too, and it's very tasty. So I should just put maple syrup in my gas tank instead of gas because it's a lot tastier and it'll smell a lot better. It's not going to make things go very.
So this is why it's important. This is why even in all the religions, they speak about taking care of the body.
Yes.
There are periods of fasting and things like that, of purification. But
you can't always purify.
No.
Or you again, it's this balance.
It's a balance.
Everything is
a balance. And it's important to understand who you are and where you are in the spectrum of things. I say understanding the model and make of your own vehicle.
Yes.
And that differs from everybody. So it's important that we know that, but it's also important that we recognize that there is this inner intelligence.
Absolutely. That you are more than that body.
You are more than the body.
If you lost your arm, God forbid, you wouldn't not exist because your arm doesn't there or your arm's separate. Who you are is more than just that body, right? How much percentage of our body is water? How much of that is bone? How much of that? Once you take away everything, where is your consciousness?
Beautiful.
So you're more than just you.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the basis of that level of life or consciousness is this beautiful field of purity, of love, of happiness,
Yes.
of infinite energy, intelligence. Science now calls that a unified field of life
yes.
from which everything is emerging. But this is why the ancients have also told us to be still, go within, seek that. It is from that level of life that when we are looking to balance our emotion, really balance our emotion, we need to know how to revert to there and create balance.
Absolutely.
So I put it like this. I say, okay, so if you have a seed and you put it into very fertile soil, all you need to do is to water the root twice a day, and that tree will blossom into a beautiful tree.
Right. Water the root to enjoy the fruit.
Right.
She says. Yes.
Yeah. So now, but if so, this is like meditation,
Right.
or your spiritual practice. So twice a day you do this, and if you already your system is pure and everything, then naturally you will grow and evolve easily. But most of us are not in that state. Most of us, we are like a soil that needs nutrition.
Right.
And so here we may have imbalances on a physical level. So while we are meditating, we need to know how to take care of that. And this is where modern medicine, natural medicine comes in to look at those parameters and help you define how. But if after you're doing all that, you're still finding that you're not growing efficiently, you have to look at a deeper level of the physiology and the psychology to see what is happening. And these are like the gardener seeing the tree growing, but it's not growing as fast as it can. So he has to look down into the soil and see what is preventing those roots from really taking hold. And there could be some big blocks or rocks down there.
Yeah.
And this is where the emotions come in, because emotions are very deep within the psyche.
Yes.
And these are like the big rocks in the soil that are preventing you from growing. So you may be doing everything on a physical level, everything on a spiritual level to grow, but you're finding frustration. You're still having the anger, you're still having the depression and things like this. That's where you need to take a deeper look in the emotions.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into your book now. So tell us a little bit more about how somebody can do that. How, from your perspective, can somebody dive a little bit deeper? And maybe they're doing meditation, which is returning back to yourself, true self every day, twice a day. Fantastic. And maybe they're exercising, and maybe they're eating healthy, and maybe they're getting that 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep that, I'm sorry, each of us, every one of us needs. And if you don't, you're not going to release toxins from your brain and you can't think as clearly. So maybe you're doing all that stuff, but there's still something more you need to do. And maybe you don't want to come see me for therapy, which hopefully you never need to. Or hopefully you want to. Who knows? But there's some other stuff that you could do. What's some stuff that you recommend in your book?
Yeah. Well, as we're getting into that, I want to make it clear, because sometimes people think, oh, I don't have emotional problems because I'm not suffering from anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
People naturally think, oh, well, if you have to be suffering for that to happen. But the truth of fact is that it's not just the absence of anxiety and depression when we are talking about emotional well-being.
You could be numbness.
Yeah.
And not even realize it.
Yeah, it's the ability to control your emotions and behavior.
And
how you cope with life
you,
challenges.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
How you handle stress on a daily basis. How you build strong, positive relationships. And even how you bounce back, how quickly you bounce back from setbacks and disappointments in life. All of us, life is a field of change. We all go through these things. And so we are all on an emotional roller coaster. How we deal with it is important.
I like how you say that, because it's not just the absence of depression or anxiety that makes me okay. No, that's not just it. But also, I really love how you talked about, maybe I am doing this correctly, but maybe there's something still missing for me in terms of my growth. How am I, one's level of fitness is not necessarily how fast I could run a mile, but how fast I recover from running that mile.
Beautiful.
And just like a level of illness is, part of the problem with drinking is when I start developing more tolerance and I need more alcohol or more cigarettes or more whatever the drug is to get that same level of happiness. I need more sugar to have the same experience. And sugar is addictive as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that to
It's
everybody.
like cocaine.
Yeah, well, it is. It reacts in the same area of the brain.
Same area of the brain.
And, so it's like wherever that is, it's like I'm building tolerance and I'm not even getting that I need more and more to recover, right? So it's not just I need more alcohol, but I need more whatever it is. And if I try and get off that drug, then I start having withdrawal symptoms. If I start going off sugar and I have an issue, if you can't drop sugar and not have it for 2 months you're having some effects, then you've got some sugar issues.
Yeah. But the emotion is the same. So you hear oftentimes people say, that's how I am. because they fly off the handle, they do whatever. I say, hey, you got to accept me as I am. That's how I am. No, that's not how you are.
That's how
That's
you're
how
choosing.
you have chosen to be.
Absolutely.
Unconsciously.
We are such on the same page.
Yes, unconsciously. So this is why in the book, one of the chapters I deal with heavily on is belief system.
Yes.
And how to deal with your limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are beliefs that are keeping you back. That's why it's called limiting.
Absolutely. By the way, you're listening to KRUU 100.1 on your FM dial. If you're lucky enough to be in Fairfield listening today, enjoy. And thank you so much, David, for being here. By the way, can you tell us, by the way, if somebody's interested in this book and some of your knowledge, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I have a website, psychedonlife.net, PSYCHED, on life, life.net.
And is there an email that if they went to that website,
Yeah,
they could email you?
You can get an email. You can sign up for a free consultation, stuff like this.
Oh, seriously, that's
and,
nice.
And you can read a little bit about my books and listen to some broadcasts that I've done on the first book, etc., on that website itself. This new book, Master Your Emotions, Transform Your Life, is now available at lulu.com.
And next week or so, it'll be on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Congratulations, by the way. And we're going to try and put maybe these shows up there as well.
Yeah.
By the way, you're listening to Mental Health Matters with Dr. Scott Terry. And today we're talking with David about his brand new book. And it's so exciting, this thought of how we're doing this. But before I want you to read something from your from the book in a second, but we're talking about addictions, and one of the issues that are so fascinating is emotions themselves are addictive.
Beautiful, yes.
And people have with some personality disorders. We won't talk about politicians or other people, but there's a lot of people with emotional dysregulation, it's called.
Yes.
And emotions themselves become addictions. Needing people to give me attention, narcissism, or needing others. I'm dependent on somebody being dependent on me, codependency, or borderline personality where everything is about dysregulated emotion, or histrionic. But, for the borderline, for instance, getting back to that, is everything is about up or down, black or white thinking, all or nothing. And it's somebody is either the greatest or the worst, and there's nothing in between. And when I have emotions themselves, it's like they become addictive. They're a drug. People can get more off on emotional, right?
Yes.
Negative or positive emotions than they can on any drug on the planet.
Absolutely. And again, you see, a lot of this stem from our culture, our religion, our family background.
You're going back to the belief system.
Yes, the whole
again.
belief system.
Absolutely.
Because it's important for all of us to re-examine our belief system during the course of our life. So we need to take a break and say, hey, what is it that I believe in?
Or what do I want to believe in?
Or do I want to be... but first you have to look at what you believe in.
Right,
and then
so you
see
can figure out what you want to change.
Yes, if you want to change.
Yeah.
And because your beliefs could either be serving you or not serving you. Or
trapping you.
Yeah, or trapping you.
Yeah. So, David, please read something from your book, because I'm really excited to hear some more from your book.
So here we're talking about limiting beliefs. There are new discoveries in science that change our beliefs about our world and ourselves. So there was a time when we believed that the sun rose in the east and set in the west. Science has shown that the earth rotates around the sun, making it appear as though the sun was rising and setting. That belief was held for a long, long time until science came. Every year, new scientific discoveries in medicine, astronomy, physics are challenging the way we view ourselves and the world. If we cannot adapt to those changes, then we become dinosaurs. Our religions, our communities, our societies, families, and education instill certain beliefs in us that trigger specific emotional responses. For instance, if you were taught to believe that people from a certain religion or ethnic group were evil, you might feel fearful every time you came into contact with such people. in order to grow, you have to change your focus and eliminate any limiting beliefs about yourself, the world, and your life. So here's a question that I have in the book that people could apply
And I really
answer.
like how you have that in the book where you have actual exercises so that people can get a sense of...
Yes.
It's a very short book, but it's very compact. There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And you do a whole workshop on this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I say when you get the book, take your time. This is not a book just to skim through.
Right.
So take one day, a lesson at a time. So
Lovely.
like this lesson that you're going to get here, you can actually take that and do the exercise. If you really want to change and transform your life, if you go through the book over 30 days, there are about 30 exercises, and you do them one by one, you'll be surprised. And soon there is going to be a course online that you will be able to download that you can follow. The same course that I do in workshops.
Fantastic.
It's about 16 hours, and you can go through that at your own pace.
Wow,
online.
nice. Really nice.
So here's a question that comes out of this. What beliefs do I need to let go of in order to move on with my life?
Okay.
Right, that's one question. What beliefs have outlived their usefulness?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so first you have to look at the beliefs that you have and see if there's still things that you need to believe in, or should you change your belief? Are they serving you or they're not serving you?
Right.
So I say, close your eyes and ask yourself these questions. Try not to think about the answers. Just listen and wait for the answer to come to you, because this is not an intellectual process. It's a feeling process.
Okay.
And write them down. So when you close your eyes...
It's important to write things down,
It's
by the way,
very
because it gets
important.
the other side of your brain.
Yes.
And it gets it out of you trying to remember something.
Yes.
Because you could only remember 7 to 9 items at a time. And sometimes it's between 5 and 9. And, you could only remember so much. That's why to-do lists are important.
Yes.
But don't hold on to that to-do list like
No.
that's,
So then keep asking yourself these questions and write down the answers that come. And follow the same procedure, putting your heart over your heart. So when you rest your hand on
over
your heart,
yeah.
you actually bring yourself in tune with your emotion. And so here's a question you ask when you do that. As you close your eyes, you say, what do I need to do now that will free me? So first you would have discovered what emotions
Okay, so
that
let's
you
go
need
through
to
the
get rid of.
questions. Tell us the questions again.
Okay, so the first question, what beliefs do I need to let go of in order to move on with my life?
Okay, stop for a second. So everybody hear that. Say that one more time.
What beliefs do I need to let go of in order to move on with my life?
So just take a moment, everybody, and think about that. Got it. Number 2.
What beliefs have outlived their usefulness?
So what beliefs have outlived their usefulness? All right. So ask yourself that next question. What beliefs have outlived their usefulness?
Right. And write them down.
And write them down. Okay?
Try
Good.
not to think. Just write what comes to your mind right away.
Excellent. Okay? Number 3.
Right. So once you have done that, put your hand on your heart, and then with your eyes closed, ask, what do I need to do now that will free me?
What do I need to do now, right now, that will free me?
Me meaning free me from what? My limiting beliefs. Those beliefs that I think I need to change.
Okay?
Okay?
Excellent.
Right. And the next one.
Oh, there's a fourth question.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the last question would be, what has to happen for me to feel better or change?
Excellent. So say that one again. The
What
fourth
has
question
to
is,
happen for me to feel better or change?
okay,
Sometimes the answers that come may not be the one that you're expecting.
okay.
However, if we want to move ahead, we need to act. Because the reason why you're not thinking about the answers is because what comes spontaneously generally tends to be the truth. But when we look to intellectualize on
Yeah,
it,
we filter.
we filter and we choose what we want to hear.
Right.
But-
Again, what are we making things mean as opposed to just being with the experience
Being
itself?
the experience itself.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes, I've had, when I do this in sessions, I've had people break down and cry. And some people say, I can't do that. I know I need to do it, but I can't do it.
Right.
Because they're so stuck in the past.
Right. Or they feel obliged
Yeah.
to a person or a memory.
Yes.
Right. I can't let go of this. Just like I can't let go of my things.
Yes.
Because they're the only thing that allows me to remember my mother or something.
Beautiful.
And so I'm holding on to this thing of my mother's because it reminds me of her. And what would happen if I let go of that thing? Well, your mother wouldn't cease to exist. She still exists within you.
Absolutely.
And in fact, she exists more powerfully in your mind and your heart than she ever will in that thing itself.
Well, even we can look at relationships. Sometimes people are holding on to dead relationships.
All the time.
And,
oh my God,
and they
every
need
day
to
I see
get
that.
rid of it, but they don't know how. Even though they know inside, the truth is, I need to get rid of it. They're holding themselves back because they're holding on to the negative feeling of significance or security in their life.
Right. Or and that's a beautiful way. Again, people are attached. They're addicted to their emotions. But it's also people are attached to what was.
Yes.
We talked last time about this notion of time. And we get stuck in what was, not what can be.
Absolutely. So this is why, again, I speak as in the book about conscious transformation. If you really want to change, if you really want to grow into the person, the beautiful person that you are, you need to consciously take steps to change. You cannot be wishy-washy on it. You have to decide today, now, that I am going to change. I'm going to use the tools that are presented to me, and I'm going to change my life. And you are the only person who can create that change, no one.
Because and this comes back to that notion of choice theory, that we're the ones who can choose. We've got that agency enough. That doesn't mean that I can decide if I'm in a wheelchair right now because my legs are broken, that I could decide to go for a run. But all the prayer in the world isn't going to be able to make me run. We still have the reality, my vehicle is what my vehicle is. The question isn't, what's my vehicle? The question is, it's apparent to you. Let it be apparent to you. What are my limiting beliefs? And then, what do I want to create from that?
Yes, and what you can do from your life situation where you are to move forward. Even if you're in a wheelchair, some people have become so creative being stuck in a wheelchair. They have done fantastic things, more than people have done with all their limbs and
absolutely
with them.
Or people who go to prison. So for most people, it destroys their life. But other people become Nelson Mandela.
Yes.
And you take that power from being in prison and you do something so much more powerful with it. So the limiting belief is our traps in our mind.
Yes.
And getting that we're not limited. We can't get up and run, but we can do something even more powerful.
Absolutely.
Given who we are at the moment.
Yeah, and this is using your gifts and talents that God has given you.
Absolutely. So thank you again, David, for coming to Mental Health Matters with Dr. Scott Terry. And again, if you're wanting to listen to these shows, you could go to Ardent Center's website, www.ardentcenter.com or KRUUFM.com. But if they're wanting more information from you regarding this book or more information, and you're going to come back again and again, so we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much.
David, tell us again how they could get a hold of information if they're so interested.
Yeah, so you can go to my website, www.psychedonlife.net, PSYCHED onlife.net. There you can sign up and send me an email or whatever, and you could also read a little more of the book and even order it from the site.
Fantastic.
You can also order directly from lulu.com at the moment, and I think by this time the book should be out on Amazon.
All right. Well, thank you again, David, so
great
much
pleasure.
for coming here. Lovely being here. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Day.